Mailbag Thursday. I guess we're trademarking that too. We're going to get to your mailbag questions, including what the Hawks may do in free agency this year. Also, officially, Jonathan Toews' comeback is on. Join us next on CHGO Blackhawks. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. I'm Jason Watsky with Mario Tirabassi. Sarah's here running the show. Hope we're having a great Thursday. We are going to get to your mailbag questions today. We did not even appeal for mailbag questions, yet there they were.
I was
magically
just going through the Discord today and went into the mailbag channel and was just like, geez, there are like 16 questions here that we didn't even ask for that we should get to. So the diehards, your questions will be answered today on today's show.
And speaking of diehards, if you're not a diehard and you would like a little bit of a lead on mailbag Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whenever we get to it, you can become a diehard for $36. We've got our summer flash sale going on right now. I think it ends tonight, right? Today's the last day. They said 48 hours.
48 hours,
so, yeah. So take advantage of this. Yes, you get a free t-shirt.
Jump on it.
Yes, you get 20% off merch and events. Yes, you get access to all of our great written content and our crappy written content. Everything that comes with being a diehard for only $36. So take advantage before that deal runs out. We got a bunch of people who have become diehards over the last few days, but we are falling behind our ALLCITY counterparts. So let's win this. Let's get some Chicago pride here. Let's win this battle against DLLS and PHLY and PHNX and DNVR. Let's kick their asses because they're kicking our asses in pretty much the sports things. So let's kick their asses in the diehard thing. It's up to you to do it. Become a diehard today. You can scan that QR code that's on your screen right now or go to allchgo.com/intro to sign up. Again, $36 for the whole year. Before we get to our mailbag questions, we got some breaking news. Jonathan Toews, according to Pierre LeBrun, has alerted his agent Pat Brisson that the comeback is on.
Yep.
He does 100% intend to play in the NHL next season. Already some dots being connected with him and the Winnipeg Jets because, as we know, you must play for your hometown before you retire.
Yep.
Also, that seems like a really good fit
Also
for Jonathan Toews.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, I know there's going to be a percentage of Hawks fans that want Jonathan Toews to come back to Chicago. I will say I am among them. I would like to see that too. However, I think both of us will caution you to not get your hopes up. Jonathan Toews is coming back for another chance to win. I think the Blackhawks are very happy to have left the past and let this new generation begin their journey to the NHL. They want to leave some spots open for young players that might take them. So I think it's a 0.0001% chance he comes back to Chicago. It would be cool to see. I just would not get your hopes up about it happening.
0.0019% chance.
Ooh, the optimistic Mario Tirabassi.
Yeah. I mean, look, like it'd be awesome. I think you want to sell tickets to your centennial season. Bring back Jonathan Toews, absolutely. But it's not a fit, I would think, for him and his desires. If he's going through all this health stuff and getting his body right and his mind right and everything to ramp it up and make the comeback, he's not doing it for a team that very clearly will not be in the playoffs.
And let's remember when his last year in Chicago, he basically said, I don't know how to lead a team like this.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to be a captain for a team that's not winning.
And I think it just doesn't make the organizational fit, the roster fit. I mean, you talk about an organization that is putting all their chips into to the middle of the table right now with their prospects, the last thing you need to do is bring in a 37-year-old who has to play in the NHL.
Right.
Like, and is a question mark, honestly, about what his level of game would actually be at. But I'm going to be very fascinated to see how it all plays out. Yeah, I mean, Winnipeg sounds like a team that might make sense. Colorado sounds like a team that might make sense.
Yeah. A cheaper alternative to Brock Nelson if he doesn't re-sign there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to come down to how he convinces teams that he's not only physically up for the 82 game slate, but not only to just play 82 games, but have to be a guy that, yeah, he's going to be in the NHL, is going to be a serviceable player. Because if you're getting what we saw at the end of his time here in Chicago, if you're getting that level of Jonathan Toews, I mean, that is not, by name alone, that's going to be a disappointment.
So and I know I just said I want him back because of my heart. My head knows it's not the right move. So let's zoom out. Patrice Bergeron has now been retired for 2 years, right?
I think so.
He didn't play last year. Didn't play this year.
That would be 2 years.
So it's 2 years out of the league.
Yeah.
So if Patrice Bergeron was having a comeback at age 37, would it make sense for the Blackhawks to sign Patrice Bergeron? No, it would not. There's no point in bringing in a guy that old with that much time off behind him. You got to look at this from a hockey perspective. You got to look at it.
Bergeron turns 40 this summer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then even if he was 3 years younger, it would make sense.
But you know what?
It makes even less sense that way.
His final season in 22-23, he had 27 goals and 58 points in 78 games.
He was a very good player.
Still very serviceable.
But at the point where the Hawks are at right now, it doesn't make sense. But again, the teams you mentioned, Colorado, Winnipeg, that could use a low-cost, I wouldn't say it's a high risk. I think you'll still get a pretty good player in Jonathan Toews. Even if the numbers aren't there, he's still going to do all the things you want him to do. He's still going to win faceoffs. He'll be an effective penalty killer, like those sort of things.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be asked to be first or second line center.
Right. It's a good way to get cheap help that could really pay off as a huge win if he's anything close to where he was, in the last few years of his career. But it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit what the Hawks are doing.
No.
It would be great for the 100th anniversary, but Jonathan Toews has solidified his legacy here. I saw someone say in the chat that he left here a little bit bitter. I don't think that's the case. He was walking away from the game. I think if anyone has any bitterness of the two, it might be Patrick Kane because of kind of how quickly everything happened with moving him out. But I don't think Jonathan Toews has any bitterness. He had the farewell tour. They saw him off in style. The last game was great. And he got to kind of do it on his own terms. And now he's coming back on his own terms. So I don't know. And Lord Hostess says, counter argument convinced me a 37-year-old Bergeron or Toews wouldn't be less serviceable than Foligno or Maroon were this past season. I think we're underselling Nick Foligno a little bit. Nick Foligno had a pretty good year. He was in the 30, 35 points
37
or so?
points.
Somewhere around there. Pat Maroon was here to play a fourth-line winger role where he would sit some games, play some games. If Jonathan Toews is back here, they're not going to do that to him. He's not going to be their 13th or 14th forward.
Foligno in his 2 years here, 17 goals, 37 points, 15 goals, 35 points. That was in 74 and 78 games.
Yeah. And Jem says they were both bitter they got pushed out. Jonathan Toews did not get pushed out. He did not play hockey. They didn't trade him. His contract was up, and he walked away from the game.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's pushing him out.
I think he physically where he was. I mean, because if you'll remember back in that 22-23 season, I believe it was early February, they put out the PR announcement. Jonathan Toews is basically being shut down indefinitely. He couldn't finish the season.
Right.
He physically couldn't go through the 82 game season. He had to stop playing and was basically out February and March. And then came back for about the final 10 games it might have been. And he was laboring to get through those games. If it wasn't likely his last chance playing in the NHL, or viewed as that, he probably if he knew he was going to play next season, the season after that one, probably would have been shut down and done, and be like, I got to recover, be ready for next year. But I think it was, this is likely my last 2 weeks in the NHL. I'm going to try and play it out, and he did. But then, he's had to go through this health journey he's been on the last 2 years, which he's, documented through Instagram and stuff. And he's been all over the world and going through all different kinds of different medical treatments and all that. It's been a lot. He had to go through that. So to think that, he could have just kept playing, like he was pushed out because he was expecting to play, I don't think that was necessarily the case. Like, he physically wasn't up to it. And so now, if he feels like he's ready to go, he's 37. I think he's in a better place physically and mentally with, how he takes care of his body and how, probably how he views hockey and his life outside of being a hockey player. He spoke with Mark Lazarus for The Athletic a couple months ago regarding his comeback, and seemed like a guy that had taken some time to find a different perspective on life and everything. So it's been a lot, I think, for a guy like him to take himself out of hockey, to now go through all that and come back into it. Like, it would have been really hard, I would imagine, for him to have just rolled over, leaving Chicago and continuing to play.
Lord Hosta says, I think hypothetically, if Toews came back, he would accept a third-line role on this current Hawks team. His knowledge of the game and insight will be more beneficial to Bedard's career than actual points. Sure, but you've also... I think we oversell that a little bit. I think we overestimate the impact of veteran on young player. They're not taking him aside and being like, okay, here's how you do this. It doesn't work that way. They lead by example. We talked yesterday to Jeff Blashill, and he talked about why he brought in Michael Pekka. It's a guy who's a former player, good at face-off, 200-foot game. Like, that's the guy in the coaching and teaching role where he's been for several years, can work individually with players through film, through analysis, through whatever metrics they want to use, and coach players and use their NHL experience to do so. A guy playing on a team that is 37 years old, working his ass off to maintain his health and play in the NHL, is not going to be taking a ton of time to just go work side by side with younger players. And let's be honest, Jonathan Toews is one of the greatest captains in NHL history. Jonathan Toews' captaincy was very much about leadership by example, and doing things on the ice the right way. He was never like the big mentor type or that I'm going to take the kid under my wing kind of guy. It was, no, I'm going to be the hardest working dude on this team. I'm going to play my ass off for 60 minutes every game. And if I can do it, everybody on this team can do it, because I'm the best player on this team. I'm the most skilled player on this team. I'm the highest paid player on this team. So if I can do it, Brian Bickle can do it, and Troy Brouwer can do it, and Dave Bowling can do it. Like, that's Jonathan Toews' leadership. And it was his ability to make the big play in the big moments that was the thing. It was not about, come, younglings, I'm going to nurture you into the NHL. Jonathan Toews did not have time for that crap. Right, Jonathan Toews was committed about kicking everyone's ass every night on the ice. Yeah. In every shift.
Well, and it was a completely different roster makeup. He wasn't, the Hawks of that time didn't have a bunch of rookies coming in. It was all experienced guys and, rookies get out of my way kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's a different atmosphere. And I just think if I were him, and I've gone through all this physical stuff and I'm fighting my way back and getting back into wanting to come back to the NHL, it's for something more than just being a mentor on a team that's outside of the playoffs. I would, if I was him, I would want to be playing for something. He doesn't have to add anything to his trophy case to solidify his legacy. He doesn't have to, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to, in professional sports, win and be competitive and be at the top. So, if let's say Chicago offered him a contract and it was the exact same term and dollars and bonuses and all this stuff as the Colorado, why would he not say, I'm going to take a chance and get in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Or if it's Winnipeg, like, I'm going to take a chance and get in the playoffs. Like, I think he would jump at that chance.
And if it doesn't work out, I'm sure there's a place in the organization for Jonathan Toews.
If he ever wanted
that they could bring him in as a development coach or whatever it might be. We had Duncan Keith on a couple weeks ago, and we asked him about Jonathan Toews' comeback. Here's what he had to say.
Said the following.
All right, we are having some technical difficulties. We got a squirrel in the wires.
Yeah, we reposted it on our social. But I mean, again, it's the sentiment is if anybody can take 2 years off, come back and play at a high level, it's a guy like Toews.
I think so. Yeah, I think.
There you go. Here's what Duncan had to say. Take two.
No,
Just kidding. Anyways.
All right.
I think it'll be fun to see how it goes. He'll probably play a game in Chicago, at least one. So that return game would be pretty crazy. And yeah.
Okay, is it good to go?
We do have it.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
If we're sure it's going to work, let's do it.
Yes.
We got rid of the squirrel.
All right.
I think so. Yeah, I think knowing Taser, anything he puts his mind to that he can do. I think he's what is he, 36 now? So I think the time off is a tough thing, but he keeps himself in shape, and like I said, if he wants to do it and come back, that I know he can do it, and he'll put the work in. That's not a question. And obviously he's got great hockey sense, and it'll be interesting. I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what's going to happen here with that, and where he'll end up, and what'll happen. But I'm just excited to watch him.
Are we
there? You have it.
Excited to watch it.
All right, we're gonna hit the break zone. We got a super chat we want to get to before we get to your mailbag, but that's coming up next. Hit the like button. We'll be back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks.
And whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. You do that by signing up and using the code CHGO365. You deposit $10 and place a bet for $5, and you will get $150 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. If it pushes, well, make better bets. And with the Bet365 early payout offer, you are a winner if your team gains a 3-goal lead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So we know the Florida Panthers are back in the Stanley Cup final.
Again.
We know the Edmonton Oilers are very close to getting back there again and rematching up to next year. So, or to last year rather. So if you think the Oilers are going to win tonight and they get up 3 goals, you are an instant winner. Download the app, use the code CHGO365 when you sign up, and you are going to get that $150 in bonus bets offer for new customers only. Again, place a $5 bet, win or lose, you are going to get those bonus bets. And bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Again, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, and this offer is in-app only.
And summer is coming, and you do not want to be the stinky guy on the
Never.
on the bus, at work, on a first date, whatever it might be. Please don't be the stinky guy. And you can protect against that with our friends at Mando. They offer whole body deodorant. That means you can use it anywhere on your body. Of course, you're going to do your armpits, but if you're a guy like me, you got the under boob situation going on, put some there, puts them on the lower back. Anywhere you sweat, anywhere you stink, you can put Mando safely. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO is being misdiagnosed and mistreated. They've got a great variety of scents. My favorite is the Clover Woods. Really love that one. And it's clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes. I have those deodorant wipes in my glove box right now.
Smart.
And free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers will get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code CHGO at shopmando.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Use that code CHGO. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
Mando.
All right, before we get to the mailbag, I know we've got a super chat from our pal, Windy City Hockey, we want to get to here. Windy City says, Toews is forever a Blackhawk, never will be considered whatever team he signs with. I know that's like a big, and it the first time you see him in a different uniform, it's going to suck and it's going to hurt. But I'll tell you this, think about this. If Chris Chelios, who spent more time in Detroit than he did in Chicago,
won two Stanley Cups
in Detroit. He did not win a Norris, but he was a finalist for a Norris, I believe, in Detroit.
Probably.
I don't think he won one, but I think he was close.
His Norrises were in Chicago and Montreal.
Yes. That dude is still remembered as a Blackhawk. Don't worry. That's going to be the case with Jonathan Toews. No. It's going to be the case with Patrick Kane, no matter what happens towards the end of their careers, whether they come back or not. Those guys will always, always, always be remembered as Blackhawks. So, yeah, might be a weird year or two, but ultimately they're going to come back and be remembered as the legends they deserve to be.
Norris voting runner-up in 2002 at the ripe old age of 40 with the Detroit Red Wings. That's crazy.
I think.
Who do you lose that to? Lidstrom?
It might be. I mean, it's crazy to think that when the Hawks punted on Chris Chelios, they thought his career was running down.
Yes, he lost to Nick Lidstrom, his teammate.
I mean, look, Chris. How old was he when he was traded? 36.
Yeah.
And he went on to play like 10 more years. It's wild.
Yeah.
It is wild. And
he was traded at 37 years old.
I think there's a lot like newer Hawks fans that got in the Kane and Toews, Keith Seabrook era that missed out on Chris Chelios. That dude was one of the all-time greats. And I mean, if those stats don't prove it to you that he was a Norris finalist only to lose to Nick Lidstrom,
his teammate.
I mean,
at 40 years old,
that's how great he was.
Pretty darn impressive. Playing 25 minutes a night at 40 years old.
All right, ready for mailbag?
Yes.
If you want to be hit us up on the Die Hard mailbag, become a Die Hard today. AllCHGO.com/intro, $36 for the year. That's what Schnoiby did. I think I said that right. I don't know how else I would say it. Schnoiby says, Schnoiby. Hi, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. My question is this. When Pat Maroon retired, who do you guys think will take on his role, both in the locker room and on the ice? Who steps into more of a veteran leadership? Who brings more of that physical presence to the ice? We've got a lot of young players and likely more NHL debuts coming this season. Who's going to be someone the other teams know is coming if they mess with the young guns?
Honestly, out of the guys that they have right now, they don't have somebody that's going to do that.
They do not.
They have Nick Foligno and Connor Murphy who can do that and have done it, but it's not the key thing that they bring to the ice. A young guy that they have that'll be in the mix for the NHL roster that also has that in his game.
Do it.
Is Colton Dach.
Oh, no. It's not
but also could do it is Samuel Savoie.
Yes.
But I think if you're talking about guys who are going to, be a veteran, someone that is going to, have a voice in the locker room and be that stick up for your teammate kind of player, they're going to have to go find him.
Yeah.
Either via trade or free agency. I think someone in the chat mentioned it. We can expand upon it more, but free agency, Sam Bennett, like that's a MFer that
I love that
you have on your team that does that kind of stuff. We've been seeing it, in his time in Florida, his time in the postseason. I think it's going to have to come from outside the organization. And it kind of stinks to say that, but it also is, not really a type of player that Kyle Davidson has invested in his time in the rebuild. I mean, he's gone and signed players like that. He got Corey Perry. He got Pat Maroon to come in and do it. I think if they're going to have somebody do it, it's going to be someone from outside the org that's going to come in and just kind of fill that role. Now, I don't know who's out there technically.
I mean,
in free
I'm looking
agency
at the list,
that would be that kind of player. I think the pickings are slim.
I mean, those guys don't really exist. Like Pat Maroon is kind of a unicorn. There's not a lot of Pat Maroons left in the league.
Yeah, it's definitely a thinning herd of
I know
Buffaloes.
Like Trent Frederick is a guy who'll drop the gloves every now and again.
I wouldn't mind Trent Frederick.
But he had 40 penalty minutes, like nothing crazy in terms of penalty minutes. He had 44 penalty minutes last year in 57 games. So
yeah, I think too the days of players who sole purpose is to go out there and beat people up and will have 200 plus penalty minutes because they fight every night.
Yeah.
Those guys don't exist anymore.
I think Nolan Allen's a guy who will mix it up. I think
sure.
Landon Slagert's a guy that will mix it up.
Yeah, he did.
Once. So they don't necessarily have to be giants. It's more of a willingness thing. Like Andrew Shaw was an enforcer for I use that word loosely. He was not like a Bob Probert type, type.
Somebody who is
he was a guy willing to get in your face if he needed to.
Step up for a teammate, or for themselves. Yeah. There's definitely ways to have guys that do that are also everyday lineup guys that are going to, produce for the team. It's not just, Kevin says Ethan Del Mastro. He's a big kid.
Yeah.
Like he can definitely stand up for himself and teammates. Alex Vlasic is a guy who's done it before. So there's a quality and a trait to being able to do that rather than just going out and getting a goon.
And I think part of this is, and if we think back to the end of last season, right, where a lot of the veterans are moved out or not playing or whatever it might be, you started to see young guys on this team take a little bit of ownership
definitely
of the roster. And this is what we're talking about, right? Like, so you bring in all these old vets, these young guys are going to defer to those guys. They're going to say, hey, look, like I'm here just trying to hang on. I'm trying to stay in the NHL. I don't want to go back to Rockford. So Pat Maroon is going to fight, or Nick Foligno is going to fight. The fewer of those guys on the roster, the Folignos, the Maroon types, the more it's going to allow your Del Mastros, your Allens, maybe it's Samuel Savoie, whoever. It allows them that freedom to kind of take ownership of the club, step into leadership roles of their own, and assert themselves in that way. Like that's why I think when we talk about bringing Kane back or Toews back or whatever big name free agent you want to be, I think the Blackhawks really want their young core to take ownership of this thing
100%.
And say, this is our team.
Yeah.
If you're old, if you're Jason Dickinson, you're Nick Foligno, we love you. We appreciate what you do. Make no mistake, this is our team. You are placeholders for us. And that's how it has to be. Like that's what you want to see this young core do. It remains to be seen if they're going to do it. Jeff Blashill has said all the right things about getting that out of players. We'll see if it translates. But this is the opportunity you have where this year, if they're not super active on free agency or trades, and even if they are a little bit, this is the year where you want to see these young kids assert themselves as, this is my effing team. You're not going to touch Connor Bedard. You're not going to touch Frank Nazar. Get out of Lev Chenow's face. Stay off of Korchinski. Or you're going to have to answer to me, Ethan Del Mastro, or Nolan Allen, or whoever it might be. This is the year, or Colton Dock, as you mentioned. This is the year where those guys need to grab it and take it and not give it back, frankly. And yeah. I have nothing against Foligno. I think he's a good influence on a room, but I want this transition of power to start happening this season.
Oh, I think it definitely will.
Yeah. I got to hit the break zone one more time. Do us a favor. Hit that like button for us. We would love if you did that. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, we love you too. We'll be back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks.
If you've ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, or just deal with money stuff in general, you know it can be a lot. That's why we want to tell you about our friends at the Rate app. It's a serious game changer where you can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes without needing to jump through a million hoops. And if you're thinking about a home equity loan or a personal loan, you can secure one in under 15 days. I wish that I had known about the Rate app when I was going through my home purchasing and selling and mortgage processes and all those things, because it was a lot to deal with. It was very stressful, and I just wish I had something that would have helped, like the Rate app. It also can help you find the best homeowners and auto insurance based on what you actually need. And something that is unexpected with the Rate app is that it has over 800 free wellness videos, stuff like meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, basic tools to help you feel better mentally and physically, because you know how stressful that process can be. So the Rate app can handle everything from all angles of the process. You can get you covered with your mortgage or your insurance or your loans, and then get your wellness covered as well. It's the one app that helps both your wallet and your well-being. Download the Rate app today to get started, and you can enter the Rate app and CHGO's summertime sweepstakes. We're hooking you up with some sweet summer baseball tickets. You can get 4 tickets to sit in the bleachers with the CHGO crew tomorrow, Friday, May 30th.
Nice.
Or if you want to go down to the south side for the Cubs and Sox game at the Rate Field on Saturday, July 26th, you can get tickets to that. You can get 2 Rate Club tickets. Download the app and visit allchgo.com/rate to get signed up today. Again, that's allchgo.com/rate. No purchase necessary.
Do that. That's good stuff. Cubs and Sox?
Yeah.
Always fun, especially if you're a Cub fan. Hey, just like your favorite team needs a home ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. We all need help getting it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to those big box stores where no one knows what they're doing. They're the toilet plunger expert on Tuesday. They're working on floors on Thursday. No, you want someone who lives and breathes flooring just like Empire Today. That's why they are your best bet for a new floor. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home, get those precise measurements taken, have all your questions answered, so there's no surprises. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing, plus you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. You've made your choice. You've chosen your floors. Get them in my house now. Schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard that right, a $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details.
All right, we're through one of the 15 questions we had.
Get through these quickly.
We can rifle through a bunch more.
All right, we got one ready to go, Sarah?
Next.
I know the computer is
dealer's choice.
The Atari 2600 is smoking right now.
Michael Evans says, would you be upset if the Hawks' biggest offseason acquisition is re-signing Ryan Donato?
Yes. Absolutely.
I would be upset.
Yes.
Yeah. That is now here's what I'll say. If you walk away, you're standing over the grill at 4th of July, you got your burgers and your dogs and your mixed veggies that you're cooking up too.
We're not doing that.
Corn on the cob.
Corn on the cob. That's a good one.
That's a salad.
And the Hawks are sitting there, and their biggest acquisition is Ryan Donato. But you have the knowledge, and we have there's reports of Hawks were talking to so-and-so and so-and-so, and they swung and missed on a bunch of guys, and they come back with Donato, and it's like, okay, this is what we got. That stinks. It's a disappointment. But you sometimes, as baseball has changed in the modern era, you take big swings because it's home run or bust. If we are sold that the plan the whole time was get Ryan Donato and run it back last year, and they didn't call Mitch Marner, they didn't call Sam Bennett, they didn't call Brock Besser, Nikolai Ehlers, they didn't call any of these guys, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be very mad.
Yes, I was here. Here's the deal. If they don't sign a massive free agent, some of the names you mentioned, I will understand it because you can't force a free agent to sign. However, you can force trades. And you can find players on other teams that don't have no movement clauses and acquire those players. They need, if they do not acquire a top 6 all-star level forward, the offseason's a failure. I don't want to hear about timing. I don't want to hear about, we're still want to give young guys a shot. If young guys are ready, they'll find their spot. Mm-hmm. They'll find a spot. You'll make room. Maybe Lucas Reichel goes back to Rockford. Maybe Colton Dock's on a team. If some kid is so undeniably great, Nikolai Ehlers or Brock Besser or player X here that you trade for is not going to block them from a roster spot. There's no way. They have to get at least one very good to all-star level, legit. Not if you squint, he might be a top 6. Or in 2 or 3 years, he could get to that point. No, you have to get a dude who is a proven top 6 scorer, a 30-goal annually type scorer. Yeah, it has to be added to this team somehow. And if it's not done, it is a failure. Mark the tape. Play it July 2nd. If a player like that is not here by then, it's an offseason failure.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board. I think you look back to Martin Havlat joining the team back in the mid 2000s. Brian Campbell joining the team. Like, I think this organization is primed for something like that. We talked with Duncan Keith. Sarah, I'm not going to make you get the clip because the computer's not. This is on the fly. But when we talked to Duncan Keith, I asked him about how did that change when those guys were added to the group, when Toews and Kane joined the team in 2007, and he just and he made the point of those guys on the team in the room, they elevated the floor of what the team could be. Not just individually themselves, but the group. Everyone started to play up to that level. And I think you look at what Jeff Blashill has said in the development of the young guys, it's going to raise everything up another level. So I think you get a guy like an Ehlers or a Besser or Bennett, or defensively, if you really want to get a veteran defenseman in here, I feel like Aaron Ekblad's out in Florida.
Sure.
And he's a guy that elevates that those players that elevate the group. And Ryan Donato, he had a great season last year. Is he a 30 and 60 second line wing? Is that what he is now? I don't believe so. I think he had a fantastic year. But I don't think that is who you can bank on him being. So if you have Ryan Donato, that's great. He's a great addition to this team. Very versatile, up and down the lineup, perfect. But you still have to have someone that you look at them and you're like, yep, they are a second line center or second line left wing. Or you know what? You put him with Connor Bedard and they're gonna do numbers. And they're gonna help Bedard and they're gonna help Frank Nazar. You have to get somebody in this group this season that allows those young guys to work off of them and elevate their game.
Yeah. Before we continue, by the way, we have 300 people watching and only 90 likes. Let's get to 100 likes at least, please. Here, hit that like button for us. So a couple people, including Jim in the chat, are mentioning what Jeff Blashill said to us yesterday, where the time to take a big swing on a free agent is when you feel like you're ready to win, and that was in comparison to Marian Hossa when talking about Marian Hossa. So if I'm translating that, that's like the Mitch Marner deal, okay? But you referencing Martin Havlat is a really good level of name to talk about. That's a Besser. Yeah. That's an Ehlers. So those guys are not Hall of Fame players. They're very good players, right? They certainly make your team better. They're certainly top 6 forwards, but they're not Hall of Fame numbers in the rafters, franchise legend type players. They're the guys that, frankly, reach free agency. It's kind of a miracle that Marian Hossa did, but Hossa was chasing a cup, and he got one. He got 3, actually, if you missed it. Spoiler alert. But, that's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, maybe you don't go all out and give $15 million to get Mitch Marner to agree to sign here just because of where you're at in the process. But you have to get somebody that moves this thing forward, because that way, instead of having, I guess, Ryan Donato can play on the top 6 again. if they resign him, or maybe this is the year that Lucas Reichel figures it out, or maybe Colton Dach can be a top line winger. No, let these guys slot appropriately and develop in their appropriate slots. If you envision Colton Dach as a third line left winger, which I can certainly see.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, he's certainly that. Fine. Put him there. Let him learn that role. Don't put him in the top 6 because you don't have another option, only to have him fall short, fail, and not play the kind of game you ultimately want him to play.
Right.
If your end game for Colton Dach is third line left wing grinder, tough guy, drop the gloves every now and again, finish checks, strong 200-foot game, let him work on that now. By adding a guy of that caliber, the Havlat caliber, it is properly slotting everyone. It's giving Connor Bedard some legitimate help. So then if it's, Bedard, Besser, and Donato, that's a little easier to swallow than Bedard, Foligno, and Donato, or like whatever, you know what I mean? Or Mikheyev.
Right.
That's kind of I would even say another Teuvo Teravainen type would really help things, because for whatever reason it never happened last year. Maybe Blashill will put Teuvo with Bedard for a while and see if it works.
We'll see.
Because you could say Bertuzzi, Teuvo, and Bedard, which I don't think we saw at all last year. Could be
2 shifts. Maybe.
Again, if we're squinting again, could be a top line. But I just want everyone playing in, Landon Slaggert is a fourth line winger.
And that's what they have him doing.
Play him on the fourth line.
Yeah.
Don't make these guys do more than they're expected to do, because you're going to put them in roles they're not suited for. They're going to struggle in those roles. It's going to crush your confidence.
Yeah.
So I think you have to add something up front in the top 6 just to make everything fit better.
Right.
All right. And by the way, let's say you sign one of these guys to a 5-6 year deal, and in 2-3 years, you see that Nick Lardis and Oliver Moore are they're legit.
They're ready to take over.
Then
those
you can
spots.
trade those guys. You could trade a Besser. You could trade an Ehlers.
Or you tell a guy who's 34, hey, you're moving down the lineup.
Right. Exactly.
I think, adults can handle that kind of messaging in pro sports.
Yeah. All right. Darth Nazar says, what is something specific you are seeing from playoff teams that the Blackhawks need?
Outside of high-end skill, they need someone, as we were kind of talking about with the question about Pat Maroon, they need someone that is going to blur that line of acceptable and dirty play. And that's why I keep looking at Sam Bennett, and I'm just he is the player that everyone hates unless he's on your team. Brad Marchand is that exact player. Corey Perry in his prime and now still is that kind of player. So I don't know who that's going to be. It could be Samuel Savoie down the road. It could be Colton Dach down the road. Who knows? But that is one of those things that when the Blackhawks get to that point where they are going to be a playoff team and they want to be taken seriously, that's that edge that they have to find. And that's what those teams in the 2010s, they had players that could play like that.
Yeah. I think obviously some size up front would help too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's there is a lot before they get to the Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers, Dallas Stars place. And I had someone on Twitter say, I can't see the Hawks getting there in 2 or 3 years. They're not going to get there in 2 or 3 years. You might be sniffing a playoff spot in 2 or 3 years, or getting your ass kicked in the first round in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
but
I would
they're
say
not contenders in 2 or 3 years.
Getting into the postseason within the next 3 years is realistic for sure. How deep you go, how often you go in the next 3 years, that's up to be seen. But in the next 3 years, if we have not seen playoff hockey, it's gonna be, man.
It's tough. It's kind of tough to see a path there. But again, we're not factoring in what this number 3 pick could bring to the team.
Sure.
You're adding another probable star player.
I was just about to say that.
Forward.
I was like, we're looking at new people coming in soon.
Right.
You don't
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's hard to
guys
see
that
that
they're
now because you don't know who it is. But
you never know who they acquire. There, if you get 2 free agency periods before in the next, there's a lot that can change. But there's definitely a way that this team, this group, a lot of these guys that we've seen their progression over the past season, 2 seasons, things are pointing up.
all right, got to hit the break zone for the final time. We promise. and we'll be back. Stick with us. We'll get to the rest of your questions coming up shortly on CHGO Blackhawks.
New vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. This is your chance to score a great deal during their Employee Pricing Plus sales event. Head on over to Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory on new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams' vehicles. And right now you can lease the new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4XE for $245 a month for 24 months. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000 with a friendly team of brand experts. The team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. Plus, since they prioritize affordability, you know you won't overpay for the vehicle you need. With Ray's Price Promise, you can shop confidently with no add-ons, no hidden fees ever. The price you see is the price you pay. Go check out our partner today to shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories, find the right vehicle for you, and drive home happy. The team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram is the only one that we recommend. Do not miss out on their Employee Pricing Plus sales event for huge savings on Jeep Grand Cherokees. For more information, visit Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
And you may have noticed by the breathless coverage, but the NFL schedule's out. Have you been eyeing a game you want to go to this year to see Ben Johnson and the Bears take on some NFC North goons? Well, Game Time is the place to get your tickets, not only for football games or hockey games or whatever it might be, but we're also hitting the summer. Concert season is here. So if you slept on an event you want to go to, check out Game Time. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to your favorite teams or concerts or whatever play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time sifting through thousands of tickets. The best ones are right there for you. They also have a feature called Customize Your Spot, which is great. It's a wonderful place. It is my first stop for anything I need on the concert or game scene. They've got all-in pricing, so you toggle that feature. It shows you the total upfront, so there's not an extra $150 on the back end when you're ready to check out, as some other places do. And they've got their lowest price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 100% of the difference, 110% of the difference if you find it cheaper somewhere else. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Sarah?
Game time. Who?
Way to go. Good job. All right, let's get a couple more in here before we wrap up the show.
Next.
Darth Kane. We said Darth Nazar. Now we got Darth Kane.
Oh, man.
Assuming the Blackhawks are truly not pursuing Marner, which free agent forwards would be in your top three? Sarah, can you move that mouse?
His preference,
yes,
their preference says Besser, 5-6 years term, Tavares 1 to 2 year term, and Donato 3 to 4 year term.
That's interesting. If it's not Marner, I'm gonna say
my top forward is Besser.
I agree with that.
My number 2 is Sam Bennett, and my number 3 is Nikolai Ehlers.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put Sam Bennett over Besser, because I think
at the top.
Yeah, because I think Sam Bennett brings something that this team needs, as we just discussed. So I will go Bennett, Besser, and Ehlers.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my top 3.
And if Kyle Davidson has a type, it is bald men.
It really is.
Nick Foligno, Anders Sorensen,
I
Jeff
think,
Blashill, Sam Bennett.
Mike Peck is going to have to shave his head. It's happening. The idea of John Tavares is an interesting one, but Tavares very much feels like a guy who's going to go cup hunting.
He seemed
he doesn't have one.
If Marner is gone from the Maple Leafs, I can envision Tavares staying in Toronto at a discount and just staying there. They'll run it back with sans Marner and see what happens.
Maybe.
I can see that being a reality.
Trevor doesn't get the concept of what we're doing. He says, in what world would Bennett come to the Hawks? We're just talking about what we would prefer.
Yeah.
But
a target.
Yes, I think it's probably not going to happen, but
don't nail every target.
We're having the dream conversation.
Yeah.
And Jim says Besser is a very slow skater. I don't know if he's a very slow skater. He's not Pat Maroon, but he's not exactly what they're looking for in speed. But it's okay to have a guy who can pop in 30, 35 goals and have less than ideal speed. I'm willing to live with that.
I'm trying to pull up that chart of the slowest.
I know Ben Popper tweeted it.
He sure did. Let's see. Is Besser on the 25 slowest skaters for top maintained speed? No. Minimum 500 minutes played. Did he do that? I think he did. Yeah. I don't see Besser there. I don't see Besser. Oh, there he is. Fewest 18 plus mile an hour burst per 60. He ranks 19th out of the bottom 25. Fewest 20 mile an hour bursts per 60. Besser is not on the list. So
who's first on that list
for fewest 20 mile an hour bursts? Yeah. I'll give you one guess as who led each of these categories.
Is it Pat Murren in all of them?
Yes.
Who's second?
Matthew Tkachuk was second in top sustained speed and fewest 20 mile an hour bursts per 60, and Alex Ovechkin was second worst in fewest 18 mile an hour bursts.
Pass on those bums. Matthew Tkachuk, slow. Don't want that guy on my team. He can't do anything. They'll just be waiting for him to catch up. Useless player, Matthew Tkachuk. Come on. Let's not get caught up in attributes. It's not NHL 25 or NHL 2K10, which is just as good. All right, next question we got here. Sprout says, question, in Dwight Schrute voice, I'm assuming. The Hawks pull off a trade with the Isles and get number one. Do you pick Schaefer or Misa? Misa, yeah, that's the answer.
I know it seemed... Just finish out the question.
Yeah, I know it seems obvious now, but last month when discussing what the Hawks should do if they won the lottery, it was very much an open question. Maybe take Schaefer and trade Korchinski in 25, and Florida's number one next year for number two and get both. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Oh, sheesh.
Yeah, I'm going to take Misa and call it a day.
Yeah, if you're making the trade to get number one, you probably don't have number 25, and who knows what else you're giving up to get to number one. But yeah, I think in this case where you got number one, you take Michael Misa.
Yes,
which is, and
it's not really a huge stretch.
No, this draft is completely open to interpretation. There's no slam dunk that Misa is number one or Hagens is number one or Schaefer is number one. It's really open to, with the Islanders winning it really threw a curveball into already a mostly open for interpretation top 5, top 7 guys. So we'll see.
B. Gorius says, honest opinions, thoughts on Blashill's quote, excited to coach young talent.
It's good.
I hope.
He should be.
He better be.
That's what's important.
Yeah. That's what he's going to be doing.
It's interesting. I was kind of, I forget who I was talking to this with, somebody recently. Joey, I was talking with him. Blashill is kind of taking over a Blackhawks team now that he was fired from in Detroit. He got the 1 year with Larkin and Seider and Raymond and all those young guys where they started to hit their stride of young players coming into Detroit. And now he's taking over a Chicago team that's going to be half a roster of guys that are 25 or younger, guys that have, high aspirations in the NHL that are very young, that are just outside of still being considered prospects. So yeah, he should be excited about it.
Yeah, he better be. We got another one, Sarah? Yeah, we got dart. We got all the darts have been checked out.
Get to the brisket one.
Ooh, brisket.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
G-Bubs says, when smoking a brisket or ribs, what is better, lump charcoal briquettes or pellets? What is your preferred smoker?
Lump charcoal.
You're a charcoal person?
Charcoal.
Are you a big smoker? Do you smoke meats?
No, but I know the difference between the flavors on how they are.
Yeah.
How they are smoked, and I prefer charcoal. I think it's I don't know if I think smokier.
It's more flavorful.
Yeah, it's more
sure.
flavorful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much better than propane. Sorry, King of the
Hill. You can taste the gas. You can taste it. Yeah.
If you have the time and the skill, charcoal is a way to go. If you're really into it, I think you're probably going to say briquettes. But no, for me, I would prefer to use charcoal for something like that. And I don't have the money for it, but I think Traegers are pretty.
Yeah, those are cool. Those are like the pellet ones,
trustworthy.
Right?
No, for a smoker.
Yeah, but don't they use the pellet like for the
I
flavor?
think so,
Yeah, I'm not. I have a Weber Smoky Mountain that I took off my neighbor's curb. I actually knocked on the door like, are you throwing it out or is it just out there? They're like, no, take it out. Sweet. And that's charcoal, and I just throw wood on it. But if Charlie the Bacon guy was here, he'd have the best answer.
Yeah,
but he's not here today. We'll take that up with him later. For what, are you working or something?
I had a Weber Smoky Joe, that little small one.
Yeah,
I had that stolen from my back porch when I was living in the city a number of years ago.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And it wasn't like my back porch was like facing like
the little baby Smoky Joes are like $30 too, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not expensive. Just go buy one, dude.
Stole it. Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
The Smoky Mountain is a 3-tier smoker. So there's like the base.
Yeah. And
there's the middle part and then the lid.
It's a real grill. Not something you can put in your trunk.
My brother-in-law's got a big green egg, and every Christmas he smokes like salmon and a bunch of stuff for a Christmas meal, and it's great. I just don't have $600 to throw down.
I know those are expensive.
Grill, unfortunately.
Michael Evans double dipping.
Michael, it's all right. He's in every show. So we'll give him too.
Yeah, he's Phil Margera in the chat.
Michael says, "Who would you rather trade for, Dylan Larkin or Tage Thompson?"
Tage Thompson.
That's a good question.
Give me a big guy who can put up 50 goals.
50 goals scored in Buffalo. That's exciting. Dylan Larkin though is like your little like Taves light kind of deal.
He's a great second line center.
Yeah.
He's got speed. I mean, either one of them makes his team better, but I'm going with Tage Thompson for sure.
Dylan Larkin is 28.
Thompson's like 25. He's young.
27. He'll be 28 in October.
F me. Never mind.
No, I thought so too. And Larkin will be 29 in July.
Why did I think he was like that young?
I think because he's kind of a late bloomer.
Yeah, could be.
Which happens a lot with kind of bigger forwards, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
It takes them a little longer to get their NHL, which is strange.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very rare you have guys that are like Eric Lindros that just step into the league and that are that physical size and just dominate.
Yes. Trevor again saying, what are these questions, Fantasyland?
They're called mailbag questions.
It's May. It's May on a 5-day-a-week show, bud.
It's May.
We got to answer questions that are sent to us. Sorry, man.
It's mailbag.
Feel free to send a question
Trademark.
in the chat. We'll answer your brilliant question. Fire it up. Yeah. All right, what else we got, Sarah?
Any quick ones?
That's it.
That was last?
It was a busy morning, guys.
Have we ever done that? Have we ever gotten through?
Yeah, we've gotten through
in one show.
Yeah, we've have.
I put in 10
I think we got through an in-season show with mailbags.
All right, Trevor's saying he's not paying us. Trevor, type your brilliant question into the comments
right now,
and we will answer your question.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yes, do it.
But no,
it's like one of those people on Twitter. It's like LOL, stupid. Well, say something smart.
Don't care.
We're ready for it. We're ready for your brilliant question. We'll even do we want to do overtime as we wait for Trevor's question?
No, we have a meeting at 3.
Oh, you're right. We do have a meeting at 3.
We do have a meeting
All right,
at 3.
You got 30 more seconds to type it in. While Trevor's typing and getting ready to blow our minds, I'm going to blow your mind and let you know that our diehard membership, $36.
It's on sale
for the year through the end of the day. allchgo.com/intro. You're going to get a free shirt as soon as you sign up. Well, they got to ship it to you, but you'll get to choose the free shirt right away. My favorite is still the CHGO hockey shirt, but I know the Cubs just dropped a bunch of new ones. It's really good stuff. So check it all out. You get access to the Diehards Only Discord. You can do that. All of our great written content, 20% off all of our events and merch. It's great. All right, Trevor has this question. And Mario, how much junior and international hockey do you watch, or do you get all your draft analysis by reading others' write-ups? I'm not going to speak for Mario. I will, when drafts approach, I start to focus more on the guys that are in the range of where they'll be. There's a lot of places that have like shift-by-shift breakdowns, so you don't have to go and watch an entire Moncton Wildcats game in your free time, but you can, if you're focused on Caleb Desnoyers, you can watch every shift he had in the game. I think those are a little more valuable than highlight packages.
Right. Highlights, you see the highlights.
They don't do much. Of course, we trust Cam Robinson, Scott Peters, like the people who are paid and make their livelihood.
Chris Peters. Scott
What did
Wheeler.
I say? Scott Peters?
Scott Peters.
Chris
Peters, Scott Wheeler, both great. If they combined forces, you'd have an unstoppable draft prospect.
So of course, those guys are the experts, so we take into account what they have to say, but that's usually what I do is I'll focus on 5 or 6 guys, especially like right now where they're picking top 3. You can probably narrow it down and dig into that. Look for the good, look for the bad. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you just do one thing. You kind of have to do it all.
Yeah. I'd echo that. You take into account what all those experts are saying, but then you start paying attention to, as you whittle down to where the Hawks are drafting guys that are likely going to be in that spot. But I'm trying to watch as much as possible. There's only so many hours in the day, but I think the outlets that I think it's Future Considerations Hockey does a great job of doing individualistic game reports. So you just, you go out, there's tons of info out there that you just got to piece together.
Yep. All right. That was actually a good question. Good job, Trevor. Appreciate it. All right. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 2. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out, and we'll see you then. Thanks for listening and watching the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.